the selfie taken near Tangse in Leh captures a miraculous escape. Indian Army's Cheetah helicopter crashed in the mountainous area of Ladakh. The single-engine HAL Cheetah helicopter was operated by a lieutenant colonel and a major, while Major General Sachin Mehta, who commands the 3 Infantry Division, was on board as a passenger. The crash took place during a flight over the high-altitude terrain of Ladakh. Tangse in Ladakh lies in a high-altitude rugged Himalayan zone close to the line of actual control, where the terrain is extremely harsh and uneven. It is surrounded by barren mountains, rocky ridges and deep valleys, with thin air and unpredictable wind patterns that make flying conditions difficult. The area has limited flat surfaces, so any landing or crash forces aircraft onto steep sloping ground. Such geography, combined with extreme cold and low visibility at times, makes Tangse one of the more challenging operational zones for aviation in Ladakh. This is what makes this escape miraculous. Now, an investigation has been launched to determine what caused the aircraft to crash during the routine sortie. The HAL Cheetah helicopters were inducted into the Indian Armed Forces in mid-70s, with the first license-built units entering service around 1976-77 based on the French aerospatial SA-31B Lama design. In terms of numbers, the Indian Army and other services together have operated around 190 Cheetah helicopters, with the broader Cheetah fleet across the armed forces going much high over time. The Cheetah is a light utility single-engine helicopter designed for high-altitude operations, especially in the Himalayas and Siachen sector. It is powered by a single turbo McArthur 3B engine, has a 2-member crew and can carry limited payload, including stretcher-based evacuation. It has a top speed of about 190 to 200 kilometers per hour, a service ceiling of roughly 6 to 7,500 meters with operational enhancement in India, and a range of about 500 kilometers, making it highly valued for reconnaissance, casualty evacuation and supply missions in extreme mountainous terrain, despite its aging design and limited modern avionics. This is not the first time a Cheetah has crashed. A Cheetah helicopter crashed during a routine army sortie in Mandala sector of Arunachal Pradesh. On October 5th, 2022, an Indian Army Aviation Cheetah helicopter crashed in a forward area near Tawang, Arunachal Pradesh during a routine modern sortie. The tragic accident resulted in the death of pilot Lieutenant Colonel Saurabh Yadav, while the co-pilot sustained serious injuries. These are just among the many incidents where Cheetahs have led to peacetime crashes and loss of lives. The Indian Army is expected to begin phasing out the Cheetah helicopters from around 2027, with the replacement process continuing in a staggered manner over the next 10 to 12 years, rather than a single cut-off date. This means the full withdrawal of the fleet will likely stretch into the late 2030s or around 2035, 2037, in fact, depending on how quickly indigenous light utility helicopters are inducted and how many aircraft are procured or leased in the interim. India will replace the aging Cheetah helicopters primarily with the indigenous HAL light utility helicopter, which is being designed and produced by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, specifically for high altitude roles in the Himalayas and Siachen. The LUH is a modern 3-ton class helicopter with better payload capacity, a digital glass cockpit, improved safety systems and the ability to operate around 20,000 feet, making it far more capable than the decade-old Cheetah fleet. But in the meantime, the big question is, how do we stop these peacetime crashes? This is a case of a miraculous recovery, but can that be guaranteed? What happens when we lose a brave heart due to another Cheetah crash? Well, that's exactly what we're going to discuss with Group Captain UK Devnath, former Indian Air Force officer. Group Captain Devnath, sir, always a pleasure speaking to you. Why are we taking these risks, sir? This fleet is old, the technology is old, these people survived. Obviously, it's pure luck, but everybody isn't this lucky, sir.
Yes, Vineet, indeed, very, very miraculous escape. I hope the crew and the passenger, they recover in hospital quickly enough so that they can join their duties. Vineet, yes, this helicopter has been there with Indian Army for a long time, almost 4 to 5 decades. Uh, I must first acknowledge that it is an old vintage model. Government of India started looking for a replacement of this helicopter somewhere around 2005. Obviously, on being recommended by Air Force and Army. But down the line, it was decided that we will not do any one-to-one purchase, replacement purchase from abroad. It was decided that Cheetah and Chetak both will be replaced by indigenously developed helicopter. Now, we have to some extent developed Dhruv, which is a utility helicopter for Indian Army and Air Force. It is successfully flying around. Now, Vineet, the stripped down version of Dhruv, where many of the components, non-essential components will be removed to make the helicopter lighter, will lead to a final model of Dhruv, which will be called light utility helicopter and will be deployed in high altitude areas of Aksai Chin, Leh, Ladakh. Vineet, one thing which I must say that these helicopters are serviced by HAL and they are very highly professional in servicing these helicopters. So there is no fault or doubt at HAL. The aerospatial engineers routinely come to HAL to supervise that our engineers in HAL are doing the service and rectification as per prescribed method using correct tools, testers, spare parts, calibration equipment. Yes, once these helicopters are deployed at unit level, servicing and maintenance is done by our own troops. Now, our airmen and troops are very well trained to maintain these helicopters. Vineet, what happens is these helicopters, when they fly at such altitude, the atmosphere is very rarefied. Secondly, when the winds come at at high velocity, they hit the mountains, they get deflected upward, calling updraft. And on the leeward side of the mountain, same winds then rapidly descend down the valley, which we call downdraft. So all the pilots are trained to identify the geographical locations and the symptoms of updraft and downdraft. To me, it appears that probably some mechanical error or some small human error by the pilot may have led to this accident. Exact details will come out only after court of inquiry establishes the facts. There is a difficulty. This particular helicopter model does not have any flight data recorder. Yes, Vineet.
All right, sir. Appreciate you joining us, sir. Thank you for your time and your perspective as well. All right, we have some breaking news to talk about now. Suvendu Adhikari has reversed